Our speaker is no stranger to most of us. Sue Goldsen is a past district governor in 2016, 2017 of our district, and currently a charter member of the Passport to Service Club. Prior to that, Sue was the charter president of the Adrian Morning Rotary Club, where she was a member for over 10 years. Sue served as a 6-year District 6400 Youth Exchange Chair, as a district conference chair for several district conferences, as well as a district vision facilitator. Over the years, Sue has worked on numerous international service projects in Brazil, Ghana, India, and El Salvador. Sue has been a facilitator and speaker at the Rotary International Youth Exchange pre-convention meetings, training leader for International Assembly for 2 years, and has been involved with Central States Rotary Youth Exchange for over 10 years. She and her Rotarian past district governor husband Bruce served as the institute chairs of the Motor City Zone in Detroit, Michigan. Sue is currently the district webmaster, newsletter editor, and Rotary Foundation committee chair. Sue and Bruce have been happily married for 38 years. They share a passion for helping others, traveling around the world, and spending time with their one son, David, his wife, Nicole, and their 2 grandchildren, Avery and Jesse. Please welcome Sue Goldsen. Sue.
Thanks, everybody. Wow, that was quite the introduction. I appreciate it. It's so nice to see so many people around the table who I know, and around the screen. Many of my Rotary experiences have been shared with people like Deb Hershaw, of course, the Charbonnats, and many others in your presence today. So I am excited to be here and to share with you knowledge that I have of the Rotary Foundation, and moreover, to give you an opportunity to perhaps ask me some questions. A little birdie told me that you might be interested in a global grant. So I'm going to spend some time just doing some generic information about the foundation. I'll talk a little bit about the global grant, and then of course, I'll try to answer whatever questions that you might have. So the Rotary Foundation is the charitable arm of Rotary, and really and truly, without the foundation and the generosity of the members of Rotary, we would not have the resources to do the great work that we're doing around the world. So that is really a big part of what we do. We have used our Rotary Foundation resources to do great work on improving health, education, environment, and of course, helping to alleviate poverty. So just by way of a little bit of history, the Rotary Foundation was founded in 1917 by our RI president, then Arch Clumph. The very first contribution to the Rotary Foundation was $26.50. And our very first grant that we ever did was a $500 grant that went to help crippled children. And over the years, contributions have jumped like crazy, of course. And when Paul Harris passed away in 1947, it really took a leap, because then we established various giving opportunities and used his name and his experience as a Rotarian as a way to fundraise for the foundation. And today, our foundation has assets of over $1 billion. So it's pretty impressive of how that has grown over the years. The mission of the Rotary Foundation is to help Rotarians advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace by improving health and providing quality education, improving the environment, and alleviating poverty. So it is through these through the contributions and through these focuses that really have helped the Rotary Foundation on target, if you will, with the things that we do. So Rotary has a ton of resources available. Whether you're a newer member, a seasoned one, there are some great videos that are available. And I'm just going to play one of them today, just so you can see some of the stuff that Rotary International makes available regarding the foundation.
Rotary has never backed away from the hardest challenges because we're committed to a better, more equitable world. This year is no exception. Staying away from people and places we love in order to keep them safe. And despite the challenges, your generosity continued. Your donations provided more than $7 million to fund coronavirus relief projects in communities worldwide. And thanks to you, citizens of Kigali, Rwanda have their first public library. Women in rural Costa Rica are enriching their communities through social entrepreneurship. At-risk kids in Puerto Rico have an artistic outlet to heal their emotional traumas. Rotary and its partners have reduced 99.9% of polio cases worldwide. Thanks to you, the Rotary Foundation raised $408 million last year. So together, we can keep doing good in the world. Donors who take action help create lasting change. Our work isn't possible without you. Rotary.
That's one of the things I love about Rotary and the public image arm of the foundation and Rotary International as a whole. They really provide a lot of great resources. So really and truly, the foundation helps to increase our impact. It helps to expand our reach, whether it's local communities or whether it's communities across the world. The Rotary Foundation also helps to enhance engagement, and that's a really important thing, because when we take the resources of the foundation and Rotarians from around the world, we end up being able to establish relationships between Rotarians, all over, that really help to keep people involved. And that's really important in Rotary. I think that all of us as Rotarians, we joined Rotary for service and for fellowship. And so the service part of it and being connected really helps you stay engaged in Rotary. And, this last 2-3 years, we've all had to learn to adapt. And I think that has really helped us in so many ways, because being flexible has been important. Obviously, the pandemic situation made everybody have to be able to adapt. And I think we proved to each other and to ourselves, even though we might have been set in our ways, that we had to be adaptable to do good work. And like the video said, even though we were in the middle of a crisis and a pandemic, we still raised good money because people were still supporting projects. And more than ever, we had certain things to do to help, people who were being affected by coronavirus in just the worst of ways. So I love that whole component of being able to be adaptable. So from a grants perspective, because as we know, a famous Rotarian in our district, Mike McCullough, some of you know him, he's always talked about it's not about the money, but what the money can do. And so this next part of my talk today is a little bit about that. Rotary grants are basically the way that we take the money from the generosity of Rotarians and then distribute it to do good in the world. In our district, we have an entire subcommittee who works on this, and it's chaired by past District Governor Rick Caron, who is my mentor in all things Rotary Foundation. And he held the position that I have now for the last 3 years, and he agreed to stay on as grants chair. And I think if he hadn't agreed to do that, I'm not sure I would have taken his job on, because he's like an encyclopedia of information. Elvira DeJesu, Colleen Mitchell, Mary Jean, and Linda also round out that committee. And these are the people local in our district who can help you as you, my thing just advanced on its own, who can help you in any kind of grants process that you might be working on. So if you decide to do a global grant, Rick Caron and Elvira will be your main contact points to help you through that process. And we just this last week interviewed people for Global Scholar, and that was an amazing experience. Young people today have so much to offer. And then vocational training teams is the program that we might all remember as Group Study Exchange. but it's where some people come here from, let's say, Ghana, they get some training on a specific vocation. We've had medical people and so on before, and then we send a group of people to their country to also offer some more training in a particular area of focus. And I know there's one right now that we're going to be taking applications for soon, which is going to be a dental mission, which will go to Ghana. So those are what vocational training teams are all about. So the kinds of grants overall that clubs and such can apply for, we have district grants, we have global grants, and we have disaster response grants. Obviously, this last few years, the disaster area has been one that is kind of bubbled to the top of things that we've had to do. We had the COVID-19, we've had Ukraine, and right now we also have the whole Turkey and Syria thing going on as well. And so Rotary takes things that are happening right now and always jumps in to help and offers support and funding opportunities for clubs and districts who might be helping in those areas. Our district grants, they're awesome because it's a one-year project. It can be local or it could be something that you work internationally with people. It does have to align with the foundation's mission. It involves Rotarian participation, which is also great because that engagement piece is so important. Our district, the way that we work these grants, and we set our own practices for it, but our grants, you will have to apply for them before May 30th of this year, and then they're available for projects for the coming Rotary year. So if you're thinking about a project that's local or international, that's on a smaller scale, if you will, the district grants are an area where you can participate. So just to give you a little bit of idea how this works, people who donated to the Rotary Foundation, we get back what it is called district designated funds from 3 years ago. So we had total contributions in 2019-20 of over $280,000 in our district. And then what happens is that money then is divided out between the World Fund, between a little bit of administrative support, and then it comes back, that bottom number of 140,000, that comes back to our district to use. And that's what we worked with this year for various grants and such. So that is how the Rotary Foundation uses the money that is donated to it. And that's how it comes back to our district, which is pretty awesome. Now, one of the things that I heard somebody mention it earlier while you guys were chatting is if you're going to apply for a grant, you have to attend a grant management seminar. Our rules and regulations on how many people have to come to this has changed. We made it a little bit easier for clubs, and we're also doing these meetings online virtually. So you have to come to a grant management seminar. You have to sign a memorandum of understanding. And then also your club has to have $100 per capita giving this year so that you can apply for a grant. And I don't believe that that will be an issue for your club. So just keep in mind the 2 dates for this grant management seminar are the 20th and 29th. You only need to have one person come, but if you've never been a part of a grant management seminar, or if you've never been involved in a grant, you might find it interesting to come. And like I said, now it's online, so it's really easy to attend. So please consider coming. And if you go to the district website, which is rotarydistrict6400.org, if you go to that website, you will see there's a tab for foundation. And then one of the tabs below that will have grant management seminar, and the links for the registration for this meeting are there, so you can go ahead and get registered. So anyway, global grants fund.
Sue, can I stop you for 1 second, please?
Sure.
Just a quick question about the district grants. At what level should we be thinking when we're planning for this? What level of grant?
As far as the dollar amount goes?
Yeah.
Typically the district grants, I would say it should definitely be under 10,000. I have seen most of them. I feel like it's been between 2,500 and 5,000. But Paul, do me a favor, just send me an email after this meeting, and I'm going to double check myself on those.
Okay.
Quite honestly, it depends upon, what's in the fund this year. And
Right.
Rick and I have not received that dollar amount yet from RI for the coming year. But it seems like to me, most of the grants have been under those amounts that I've indicated.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So on global grant funds, global grants on a whole are for humanitarian projects. They're also for scholarships. As I mentioned, we just did interviews for global scholars, and they're for vocational training teams. Most vocational training teams are done via the district. However, there have been some clubs who do their own as well. Windsor 1918 is one of them. So they put up a certain amount of money and then they apply for a certain amount. Many of the global grants that we have recently done, we've done, like I said, the Global Scholarship, we've done VTTs, we support the Guatemala Literacy Project. There's a big grant going on for that right now. The Detroit Rotary Club did a great global grant for dialysis training in Mumbai, India. And we did a big grant in the last few years for health center in Ethiopia. And our district governor nominee, Nick Kriasic, had led a team to Ethiopia at that time for a medical team. So we've done some amazing work in this area. As I mentioned earlier, the global grants need to be aligned with the areas of focus. Our areas of focus are these 7, used to be 6 for many years, but we added the environment to it when Ian Risley was our president. This really helps everyone to kind of stay focused, but I will say virtually every project that I have seen come across my desk feels like it falls into one of these pretty easily. So whether you're looking to do something with the school, whether you're looking to help build a well someplace, you can find an area of focus to match it into. It really helps to keep us focused. It really helps to the mission of the Rotary Foundation, that we stay aligned with it. So global grants, which I understand you might have an interest in, this particular type of grant is 30,000 minimum and can go up to 400,000 depending on the project and what you're doing. Obviously, the reporting and all of that on this kind of grant is also going to be a little bit bigger than perhaps on a district grant. To be approved, your application has to really describe the project and what you're doing. It has to show that it's sustainable. Most of the global grants that get approved and that you work with sustainability, you have to have, if you're doing, let's say, a project in Ghana, you have to have a club there who's going to be the people on the ground to help execute that project as well. You have to have measurable goals. It has to, of course, align with the areas of focus, as I mentioned, and you have to really be addressing and working on a community need. And so there has to be a community assessment done as well to make sure that all of those things are being taken care of. So I'm going to pause for a second and see if you have any specific questions on global grants that I could perhaps answer. If your club is going to decide to go down this road, obviously Rick Caron and Elvira will be your main contacts. You need to do the community assessment. You need to have a partner. What you do is you open up a grant application online and you start to work on it. You will also have to write a letter or have a conversation with Rick and put together almost a brief outline, if you will, to request, if you're going to be requesting matching funds at all from the district and through the Rotary Foundation. He will help guide you through that process. But the step 1 is to make sure that we put aside some money, see what kind of match you're going to do with it, and then kind of outline the project And you open an application on the Rotary International site once everything's all in order and everything has been approved and the assessment is done and the club that you're working with is in support. There's a whole sign-off process, if you will, where Rick, myself, and the club, wherever you're working with, would have to sign off on it, and then it's submitted. And then it's approved that way. So any questions?
Alex?
Yes. So quick question on connecting with other clubs. One of the issues we're facing right now, sort of in that post-COVID world where we all isolated ourselves for 2 years. We are challenged by actually finding a project associated with a club that can help us manage it. Is there any mechanism in Rotary or at the district level that would assist us in connecting with a club that has a need that we could join with and apply for a global grant?
There are many. And so by way of example, I'll just say, even this past week, after we did the interviews for Global Scholar, we needed a club in Venice, Italy, because the student wants to apply for a program at a school there. So I wrote a letter to a director who I know from Italy, and within 3 days, we had a club secured and all the information all set. So, you know, so I guess through what you just said, Alan, you don't necessarily have a project in mind, you're looking for a project. Yes. And if that's the case, there are also some resources online. And I will say you can open a whole can of worms because there's always clubs from around the world who are looking for someone to help them. But there are a couple of forums online, and I will send you the link to that to you specifically, and I can copy Phyllis if you want. And on that, there's like a whole list of stuff that people are looking for partners all the time. And but my suggestion would be to you to decide maybe before you go down that road if there's a specific part of the world you really want to work on, or a specific type of project, whether it's maternal health or whether it's literacy. And that might help guide you, because it could become overwhelming. There are lots of projects out there.
One of the ideas we had, Sue, was to contact the Rotary Action groups, like the different Rotary Action groups, because they probably know of projects that are going on, like WASRAG, and I don't know what the other ones are.
There are, and when you speak about WASH programs, I will tell you right now, myself, Nick, Donna, Schmidt, we're all involved in something called hand wash, which is oriented. There are people within the district who are pretty involved in certain things. Jennifer and Nick have also established a water fund. So if water is something that is interesting to you guys in sanitation, there might be some stuff that you can apply for it and get involved with that will help you, take on a project. I will tell you, there are also certain parts, it depends on what you want to do. If part of what you want to do is to help a community, and maybe there's a team of you who want to go there, then that's a different thing than just donating to something and helping to fund a water well or something. There are certain parts of the world, like Haiti right now, it's not advisable to travel there. But it doesn't mean that there aren't Rotarians on the ground who are still taking care of things and helping. So I might suggest to you a brainstorming session with, to decide what you want to do as far as your area of focus. And then between myself and the resource available on Rotary.org, we can help point you in the right direction.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. I'm so excited that this is on your horizon, because it's most rewarding. I mean, there's many of us on this call who've done projects and been on mission trips, and it's like the best thing in the world.
Good morning, Sue. Quick question. Can we apply for more than one global grant in a Rotary year?
Yes, I have seen that done. As a district, we try to spread it around as best as we can when it comes to our district designated. But there are some clubs that have applied for more than one, because there are different areas of focus and there are different kinds of types too. So because of that, yes, we have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Deb's got her hand up on the.
Oh, Deborah, yes, Deb?
Good morning, everyone. Hi, Sue. Quick question. Is a global grant only for international projects or can it be local as well?
Because you need to have a international partner, yes, but here's an interesting thing because of our district and the way we are, because we're between Canada and US, we have had a Canadian club and a US club pair up to do a global grant that way.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But Sue, there's other grants that our economic committee could apply for in our community and youth, the $5,000 grants, right?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood that.
There's other grants, though. I think Deborah's talking about specifically for her environmental committee. Those would go under the district grants, the $5,000 grants.
Correct. So yes, and so so you could do a district grant. The other thing that sometimes, and it's not Rotary Foundation, but the district has a foundation. Some of you have participated in the district golf outing. So that money goes to the District 6400 Foundation, and that's another resource for some money. Those are usually for international, and the deadline for that is coming up April the 1st. And there's an application again on the district website for that kind of grant too, and the information is written there. But that might be a conversation you also have with District Governor Tracy.
We were talking about that the other night, Sue, because I think we accounted for 35% of the revenue that went to the golf tournament this year. So it'd be really kind of nice to tap into some of that for, a collaborative grant or something that's there.
Yeah, there are two different kinds that you can apply for, and the information again, it's up online. I actually just had another club call me about that yesterday. It gets confusing sometimes because people think that that's from the Rotary Foundation, but that's actually the District 6400 Foundation. And then again, Nick and Jen have this water fund that they have funded, and that has money in it too. So if somebody was looking to do a water type project someplace, that's another resource for some resources.
Deborah's got another question.
Yep.
Hi, it's me again. So, okay, so I've been in conversation with Balamurti of our neighboring district at a water project. So that could potentially come under as a global grant, depending on what the project is. It's a water project as well, which is kind of cool because it sounds like there's different avenues for grant application.
There are, and again, I can't stress enough that Rick and Elvira could be a great resource to you guys and help you through that process.
Awesome.
They'll definitely help you. Well, great questions. I'm so excited.
Isn't Bala in a different district? Isn't he in 6380?
He is.
Okay.
But you
does it
can
matter?
do some things collaboratively, and there have been instances where two districts are working on the same kind of project and both apply for grants, and then between them applying, because there are different components sometimes. So let's say it's a water and sanitation project. Maybe his district's going to take on the sanitation angle of it, and you're going to take on the water angle of it, but it overall is going to the same community. That's fine. Okay, so the other kind of grant, and I touched on it before, are these disaster relief grants. Our district did an amazing job when COVID happened, and we did apply for a disaster relief grant, and we offered small grants that we gave to different clubs in our district as it pertains to COVID. So, hats off to all the clubs who were a part of that. Right now, there's a lot of fundraising going on for Ukraine and the relief efforts there, as well as now for Turkey. And many clubs and many districts who are trying to help will apply for special grants. And that's different money that they end up earmarking for these disasters. So if this is an area that your club at all is interested in, there might be some different resources there as well. So I haven't been to a St. Clair meeting in a minute, and I don't know how many of you are newer to the club. or not, and how much information you might want to know about as far as supporting the foundation and the different kinds of giving. So before I go there, I'm going to look for direction from all of you, because if that's information that's already well known, then I don't have to go through all that, but I do have some information on that if that would be helpful.
I think it would be good just for a refresher. You know, we're a very foundation rich club. We donate a lot of money, easily hit ER, EY. 1/3 of our club is Rotary Direct, number of major donors, Paul Harris Fellows, etc. But I think, you know, outside of that, I think there's some really interesting avenues for giving that we might not all be aware of.
Okay, great. So there are various individual and club recognitions that everyone can strive for. The Rotary Foundation, as far as the charitable arm and the different funds that we have, include, of course, the Polio Plus Fund, which we're all pretty familiar with. Past District Governor Neil Macbeth is our district person who focuses on that. Annual fund, which is the monies that every year that we look for people to support the overall annual fund. And that's the money that comes back to the district for us to use for grants and such. The endowment fund, which Phyllis works on, this is an area that is really focused towards Rotary's future, as endowment would imply. And then, of course, as you heard me say, we do have this disaster response fund, and that is usually special appeals, and people have been extremely generous in those areas as well. You know, we, overall, as the Rotary Foundation, if we had all members doing at least sustaining, we would really hit all the marks that we need to do. And it's really important, in my opinion, to get people as involved in the foundation and supporting it, because it really does help us do the great work that we do. Now, as a district and as Rotary International, we many times talk about Paul Harris Fellows and Paul Harris recognitions. To hit your Paul Harris, it's $1,000 that you would donate to the Rotary Foundation. Some people do that over time. Some people do it annually. We have something which you'll see on the next slide called the Paul Harris Society, and those are people who donate $1,000 a year. But we have people who over, 3, 5, 6 years, however long it takes, they might finally reach their Paul Harris one. You should also know that usually at district conference, we have had times where we offer what we called recognition points. So if we offer 500 points and you donate $500, you could get to your first Paul Harris Fellow or second or third or whatever. Rotary has, you'll see up here by the pins, for every 1,000 you donate, you get like another sapphire, and then you move on to rubies. And then when you become a major donor, which is 10,000 or more, you get a pin that has like a little diamond in it. So there are many different recognition levels that Rotary International offers. And we usually recognize people at the district level at 2 different events. One, which is a membership and foundation event that we've done in the fall sometimes. And then we also always do recognitions at district conference. As a matter of fact, we're in the process right now of sending out notes to club presidents and foundation chairs based upon your goal, where you are, and hoping that people will get to their goals before the end of the Rotary year. And also, if you as an individual want to be recognized at conference or in this Rotary year, that you want to do those contributions sooner so that we can get that done before June 30th of this year. So the society, which I mentioned, that's $1,000 or more that you donate every single year. As far as club recognitions go, we have 100% foundation giving clubs. We have every Rotarian every year recognitions, and then we have 100% Paul Harris Fellow clubs and 100% Paul Harris Society clubs. And those are all recognized. Usually we get the report from RI in the summertime after the year has closed out, and then we do those recognitions in the fall at our meeting that we have. So every Rotarian every year, we try to look at $100 average by members, but at least having every member at least donate $25. When we talk about ways to give, it's amazing to me to hear how many people you guys have a Rotary Direct. Congratulations, that's phenomenal. People also just straight up donate through the website. You can also mail your gift to the Rotary Foundation as well. We have some clubs who decide to do like a fundraising project that they earmark for the foundation, and that's how they do it. There are even some employers who do corporate matching for Rotary. So it really depends on each area. We also have seen many people, and you'll see it sometimes on Facebook. I'm not sure if any of you have, where some people decide instead of having gifts this year, or if somebody passes, they have people donate to the Rotary Foundation. There are several people who've done fundraisers for their birthday that go to the Rotary Foundation, and those mechanisms are used as well for some of the fundraising. So Rotary Direct specifically, that just automatically comes through to the Rotary Foundation. When we look at the Rotary and we look at what it can do, no matter how you choose to give, it really does make a huge impact on what we're able to do around the world. Every bit of money goes, whether it's medical equipment, whether it's water filters. There's a lot of emphasis right now on peace and conflict resolution. So the Rotary Foundation money really makes a big difference. The other thing I'm pretty proud about is that the Rotary Foundation has high marks and has received like a 4-star rating for the last 13 years on Charity Navigator. And I think that the stewardship of the money that we all donate towards the foundation is really, really critical. I did mention before about our webpage. So this is the 6400 website, and under foundation, you'll find all kinds of details here. And if it's not here, if you email me, I'll be sure to figure out the question and find the information for you and get it to you. So here are some examples of what $1,000 contribution does for the Rotary Foundation. In the area of maternal and child health, it will provide 14 antiretroviral drugs that help to prevent HIV. It also can help put together a bicycle for someone who is disabled and needs a special kind of bike, so that $1,000 can really help that person get that ability to be involved with sports and such. And $1,000, which is a Paul Harris Fellow, also helps to put together huge programs in the areas of domestic violence and abuse education. There's a district in Texas, USA, who did a huge program, and that was all able to happen because of $1,000 donation. Just remember, whatever you give to the foundation, it makes good projects become great projects. Taking that money and being able to leverage it and pair it up with others so that somebody's donation makes a bigger impact is really the magic of what the Rotary Foundation does. One of the other recognitions that we talk about is every Rotarian every year and getting 100% participation, and that really is critical. It's that buy-in that we all would have as it pertains to the great work that Rotary does. So I'm going to play one more video for you. And really and truly, there's nothing more I can say but thank you. I know when people like myself and Deb, who went to Ghana together, and we watched children take rags and ball them up so they can play soccer ball. All you need to do is to go on one of those mission trips or see some of those pictures of people who benefit from what we do. And it pulls at your heartstrings, it really does. And believe me when I tell you that everything that we do, whether it's with our treasure of time, whether it's our treasure of gifts that we give, it makes a huge difference to people. And when you get to see a face smile and say thank you because you've done something for them, it's really all the reward that you can ever ask for. So thanks again for being so generous. Thanks again for everything that you're doing for the foundation. And I really appreciate you inviting me to be here today. And just remember that the entire foundation committee is here to help however we can. And you're welcome to call me, email me. And if I can't get the answer, I will look to others on my team who can get you the answers. So thanks again. And I appreciate again, everything that you guys do. Any questions?
Anybody have any other questions? Alan?
Yeah, just I think just a statement, and you know, we're short on time, but we are one of the leaders in foundation giving in District 6400 up here. We are one of the leaders in foundation giving in 6400, whether it's through Every Rotarian Everywhere, the number of Paul Harris Fellows, major donors. We have not applied for a grant in many years. So I think the challenge is going out to all the committee chairs and the club. Let's find some opportunities to lever the money we've given that come back. 50% of the money we give comes back to the district. How can we lever that to do even more in our community and globally? And I think one of the goals is we're going to be challenging at the board meeting next week is for the chairs to let's get some grant applications in before May.
And Alan, I will go ahead and send you a link that will show you some international projects that might be looking for partners. But if you have a focus, I will say that will help you a lot.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Deborah?
Hi, Sue. I just wanted to say that you have an absolute wealth of knowledge on both the topic of global grants and foundations. So thank you very much. And we are so happy to have you share it with us. Also, it's all obviously great timing as Alan's just spoke about. It's like we are trying to plan future projects and being able to apply for grants would be optimal. And that being said, thank you so much for speaking with us this morning. And it's always great to see you and have you at our club.
Well, you're very sweet. It was my great pleasure and honor. Many of the people in this room, whether you're in person or on the Zoom here, are people who I consider to be good Rotary friends and people who I've definitely admired and looked up to. So appreciate it.
Thank you. The idea that you came up with, or that the membership committee came up with about this little social that we're going to learn more of all the platforms that we have. The other, maybe we could also put in there TRF, Rotary Direct, and there are some of us in the room that know how to do that. And if anybody is interested in doing that, we can help get that up and running for you as well. That would be great. Thanks a lot, Sue. So
Appreciate it so much, everybody.
next week.